Happy Veterans Day to you, Lamar. As the surviving members of Hardison's crew, we're both around age 90 plus to welcome this day. I still remember on February 10th of 1945 in Tripoli when you became a father and made the entire crew so happy. Thank God we made it back and have been blessed. Your old friend, Dick. And then I got right back, I guess an hour later. Thank you for thinking me most special old friend and comrade. Happy Veterans Day to you too. Your continuing this friendship after all of these years is a real tribute, and I do sincerely appreciate it. The little girl that came into my family that day we were in Tripoli has been our treasure. She still is in charge of keeping all of us well and happy. I'm thinking of all of our old crew. They were an outstanding group. I flew with other crews, but there were none better than ours. I hope they know that we do respect and fondly remember them. Be well, old friend, and thank you again, Lamar. Do I have a few more minutes? Or not? You sure? Andy? Well, all right. I was called on back in 2006 to give a eulogy for the navigator on my crew. And I agreed to do that. And December 23rd, 2003, needless to say that the burial was on the 26th at the church. And so I guess I gave up Christmas with my family to be out there, but I was more than happy to do it. Trying to make this shorter so Jim.
Take all the time you want.
Okay. Jim was one of the finest gentlemen I ever met, and I wanted to be there when he was laid to rest. His entire family welcomed me when I arrived and were overjoyed at being there. They all went out of their way to make me feel comfortable. Carolyn and all of the 5 kids and grandkids made me feel at home. The funeral service was beautiful. The church was packed. It was military. Jim had retired as a full colonel, and they had all the makings. They gave you a lump in your throat at graveside, holding the flag, presenting it to Carolyn, firing rifles and taps. As I said, it was beautiful. Before I left Jersey, they asked if I would say a few words at his funeral, and I couldn't say no. Jimmy Hill was a dear man and a dear friend. I met Jim at Langley Field, Virginia in September of 1944, where they were forming bomber crews to be sent overseas. 1 year earlier, we were all civilian students, and now we were ready to take a 4-engine bomber halfway around the world. Our pilot was the oldest man on the crew. He was 27 years old. The rest of us referred to him as the old man. I guess this was Tom Brokaw's greatest generation. But when I see the gallant men and women serving our nation today throughout the world, I know that the love for our country and the willingness to sacrifice our lives for it would be the same for every generation of Americans. Jim was our navigator and was our rock. Navigation is far different today than it was then, especially when flying over enemy territory. You couldn't rely on radio, and you were using inaccurate maps that had been captured from the Japanese. But our rock always got us there and back. The back being the most important part. Another thing about Jim that I confess made us all jealous was that he always got a handful of letters from some girl named Carolyn at every mail call. We all knew about Carolyn because when you talked to Jim, you usually ended up talking about Carolyn. I remember this one time that Jay, our bombardier, didn't drop on the first pass over the target. And Jim yelled at him, "Next time, drop the goddamn bombs." Jay answered, "Come on, Jimmy, you'll see Carolyn again." When the war ended, we shook hands and went our respective ways. We kept in touch with our Christmas cards, but it was 47 years before we would all meet again. And guess what? It was our navigator's home in Oak Ridge that we were reunited. As you may have guessed, Mrs. James Hill, Carolyn, to all of you, greeted us warmly, baked us a beautiful chocolate cake, and left for Chattanooga so we could be alone. There is camaraderie, a bonding that exists between men who climb aboard a B-24, take off on a bombing mission knowing they may not return, all scared to death, but none willing to admit it. And now sitting in Tim's kitchen, we made up for the past years by comparing notes, counting how many grandchildren were out there. We broke up at 4 a.m., but we were back by 10 a.m. over breakfast. We were also proud when we found that Jim had been deputy manager of the Department of Energy's Oak Ridge operations and been a special assistant to the chairman of the Atomic Commission. To lose this wonderful man so suddenly is heartbreaking for his family and all who loved him. And though tears blind our eyes, we must take heart in knowing that he is with our Lord, who loved him so much he could no longer wait to have him by his side. God has blessed Carolyn with wonderful children and grandchildren who will help her face the future now that Jim has left her, but never to be forgotten. And that was it. That's all.
Very good.